Okay, let's move on from this. Let's shift focus to the world of auto. We compare the facelifted 2024 Hyundai Creta with the Toyota urban cruiser Hyryder and the Skoda Kushaq. Are hybrids a good match for turbo petrols? We put these cars through a detailed test to find out, comparing their real-world mileage and their performance figures.
We also tell you how these cars are to drive and see how they stack up in terms of features, safety, practicality. Also, which of these is the nicest place to spend time, both if you're driving or being driven around. Watch till the end to let us know what you think.
It's very likely that the Hyundai Creta is right at the top of your shopping list if you're looking for a mid-sized SUV, especially since it's had a fairly significant midlife update. But how does it actually stand against something like the Skoda Kushaq with its focus on driver involvement and that slightly premium badge? Or can you get most of what the Creta offers but in a far more efficient package like this Toyota urban cruiser Hyryder with its hybrid powertrain? The Skoda Kushaq and Toyota urban cruiser Hyryder both do enough visually to give you that substantial SUV presence. Despite the considerable part sharing they come from, these two have also managed to retain their identity. But the Kushaq is the tallest and narrowest car here, which shows in its slightly top-heavy proportions. The Hyryder, on the other hand, is very similarly sized to the Creta, but could do with a shade more presence in this midst. The Hyryder goes the extra mile with its 210 mm of ground clearance. The Creta and Kushaq are closer to the norm at 190 and 188 mm. The Hyundai Creta in this facelifted form isn't perfect either. The heavily revised lighting and panels don't quite gel with the more rounded profile that's carried over. But the sharp H-pattern full-width lighting and oversized grille and contrasting panels give it a dollop more road presence than the other two. It also looks the largest of the lot here, which many will like. It's likely that you will do quite a few road trips with your family in these cars, and the Creta is your good friend in this regard. With its 433-litre boot space, it's right at the top of the segment, and as you can see, a family's weekend luggage fits very easily in this. It's got a completely flat loading lid. It's very easy to just put stuff in or just pull that like this. Now the Kushaq has 385 litres, which seems significantly less than the Creta, and you do have to lift it up quite high considering it's a deep space here. But once inside, you realize in terms of actual usable space, there's actually not much difference, especially considering the wide opening that's there and just the shape of the boot. So with the Hyryder's hybrid powertrain, as you can see, there's some compromise to be made. The battery pack, or at least a big part of it, sits in the boot. So as you can see, I don't really have space to put in this bag here. Now what I can do, considering it's only 233 litres, is I can lift out this partition. You're going to have to figure out where to keep it and place my bag like this here. The Hyundai Creta and Skoda Kushaq Senior are both powered by 1.5-litre turbo petrol engines and pair with 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. The Hyundai has a slight edge in performance at 160 PS against the Skoda's 150, and both make very similar torque. The Hyryder's 115 PS system output is misleading, as is the 0 to 100 kmph time of 11.2 seconds. In the real world, especially on crowded Indian roads where medium throttle inputs are the norm, it's not far behind the others here. Now, you know that Skoda and VW made their name with the performance and just the engagement that they offer, but with the Creta, it's very clear that Hyundai has more than caught up. Is generally quiet, and then you have the way the engine performs. To start with, it's very linear in its power delivery for a turbo petrol, so even from very low revs it pulls very clean. It has a wide power band, and past 3500 rpm it really does pick up steam quite significantly. There's a 1 second difference in the 0 to 100 time between the two cars. The Kushaq does it in about 9.7, this one does it in 8.7. But the main thing is that you don't realize that performance, and a big part of that is the gearbox. The Skoda seems to favor efficiency more than drivability. The Creta's more tractable nature means that a good dose of power is always accessible, and when you do need downshifts, the Hyundai is again more alert. Both give you an S gearbox mode that seems to bring more change to the Skoda, getting the gearbox much closer in alertness to the Hyundai. Now where does the Hyryder stand in the middle of all this? It's of course a very different experience. It's quite grumbly, there's a lot of vibration, so that's not very nice. But what these two cars can't match is that immediate electric power. So when you're crawling in traffic, where both these cars are not at their strongest, especially the Kushaq, it can feel a bit jittery and unsure. It's constantly swapping between gears. This is a slightly better. In that sense, the CVT and the electric power in the Hyryder makes it really very simple and smooth in city stop-start driving. But you always have that electric torque at your disposal, which really does help when you just want to make up speed. This quite cohesive hybrid system also doesn't feel out of breath on the highway. The engine is more in focus, but you always sense that the electric motor is supplementing it. Now you get drive modes in the Hyryder and the Creta, and it's a bit more effective in the Creta given how the powertrain is.
All right, getting you all